Okay, I'm going to call to order the meeting of the Maplewood Community Design Review Board. Today is Tuesday, September 16th, a little bit after 6 o'clock. And we have one person that is, one member of the board that is going to be with us virtually, so that requires that every vote and action we do is required to be done by roll call. So I'll start with the roll call. I'm Bill Kempe, and I'm here.
Jason Lamers here.
Tom Osmond here.
Okay, we have three of us here. We are missing two, but we have enough to proceed as we have a quorum. All right, so next thing is the approval of the agenda. Any changes, staff?
Chair and board staff does not have any amendments to the agenda as presented.
Okay, and I assume nothing here?
No changes here. I'll motion to approve the agenda for the September 16th, 2025 Community Design Review Board meeting.
Okay, we
I'll
have
second.
a motion, and I will second it. And so we'll take it to a vote. Bill Kempe, aye.
Jason Lamers, aye.
Tom Osmond, aye.
Okay. Approval of minutes from our last meeting, which was August 19th. Anything, staff, on that?
Chair and board staff does not have any amendments to the minutes as presented.
Okay, anything from the board?
No changes from the board.
I will propose that we approve the minutes.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Bill Kempe says aye.
Jason Lamers, aye.
Tom Osmond, aye.
Okay, next item is new business. Number one, comprehensive sign plan, shared freestanding sign at 3050 White Bear Avenue North and 1985 Woodland Avenue East. Report, please.
Thank you, Chair and board. If we could have the slides up on the monitors, we'll have a handful of slides here to walk through the conversation. As the chair mentioned, we are looking at 3050 White Bear Avenue. The applicant tonight, Professional Permits, on behalf of Mr. Car Wash and Firestone, which is located at 1985 Woodland Avenue East, are requesting a comprehensive sign plan for a shared freestanding sign. Proposed on the Mr. Car Wash property at the corner of White Bear Avenue and Woodland Avenue. If you look at the aerial map on the right-hand side, you see a yellow scribble kind of indicating the general area of where this sign is being proposed. A comprehensive sign plan is required for signs that are shared between two adjacent properties. So again, on the aerial photo, you can see the Firestone property to the east and the Car Wash property to the west. Mr. Car Wash currently has primary access from White Bear Avenue, but two additional access points that cross over the Firestone property on the west side of the Firestone property. And then Firestone has primary access from Woodland Avenue, but two additional access points cross over through the parcel to the north and east along the shared access across the car wash site. So two uses that are somewhat commingled based on access drives and access points off the two rights of way. Mr. Car Wash currently has two freestanding signs, one along White Bear Avenue and one along Woodland Avenue. Firestone currently has one freestanding sign along Woodland Avenue and two wall signs. All these signs currently meet sign code and were permitted through the proper process through the city's ordinance requirements. What is being proposed is that Mr. Car Wash would actually remove the existing freestanding sign that's on Woodland Avenue, relocate it closer to the intersection of White Bear Avenue and Woodland, and have a signage with Firestone, as you can see on the rendering to the right. This sign would meet ordinance requirements in terms of height. They actually could have a bigger sign in terms of area, but that's not being proposed at this time. The sign would be 20 feet tall, 72 square feet in size. Again, meets the height and overall size requirements for the zoning of this district. So Mr. Car Wash is taking an existing sign, moving it west, adding another panel for the user to the east. Notice of this meeting were sent to properties within 350 feet of the sites. No comments were received prior to the meeting. Tonight is the CDRB's review of the comprehensive sign plan. This does not go beyond the CDRB unless the decision is appealed tonight. With that, The staff is recommending approval of the motion that is laid out in your staff report with conditions 1 through 7. And these conditions detail that the sign must be outside of the required site triangle, essentially meet all the sign ordinance requirements that are in place, and that any future signage would continue to meet sign code requirements, and that if there are any additional signage requests that exceed ordinance limitations, that they would have to come back to the board with an amendment to the comprehensive sign plan. So again, staff is recommending approval of this request and can stand for any questions.
So the existing sign that's there, that's like, I don't know, 8 feet or 7 or 8 feet, would this be in the exact same spot?
No, Chair and Board, so we don't have it greatly indicated on this map, but the
'cause
sign
it's
currently is squarely on Woodland Avenue, where this sign would move more to the west and be at the intersection of Woodland and White Bear.
Okay. And it still meets the right-of-way setbacks?
Correct. It would need to meet all setback requirements, and actually there's additional setback requirements because of the site triangle that needs to be set back a little further than the required 10 feet along normal property lines. But yeah, the proposed location would meet all setback requirements.
So, we're gonna lose one, Mr. Car Wash sign,
A shorter one.
shorter one. And what about the Firestone sign? Is that still gonna stay there?
Chair and Commission, or Chair and Board, yes, the Firestone sign, which is on the Firestone property, would still stay in place. So there's not a net loss of signs, but there's not a net gain either. Essentially, they're taking an existing Mr. Car Wash sign, moving it to the west, which allows them a little more height, and then adding additional panel that says Firestone.
Okay. All right. Any other comments from the board? Questions? Tom, anything from you?
No, nothing for me.
Okay. I think it's pretty straightforward.
The applicant come forward?
Sure.
Was there any discussion just from the applicant about just adding the Firestone sign to the existing monument sign that's there?
Yeah, is this on? Okay, so I'm Justin Young. I'm actually work for the sign manufacturer. I have Chris Campbell here as well for Mr. Car Wash. 1 Dualite Lane, Williamsburg, Ohio is our corporate headquarters where I'd be operating out of. What happened is this has always been the plan. It was part of the development agreement with Firestone to have co-branding. We had a staff member go on medical leave, someone picked up the project, and they just missed that conversation, and we built a sign that was their brand standards, but not part of the agreement we had with the developer. So it really was a mistake on our behalf, and we're just trying to rectify that and make sure we're good on our development agreement.
All right, sign material. What is the base of that, the pole of the sign made from?
Well, currently it's going to be a steel pole, and then you'll have an aluminum cladded base, so it won't rust. And it's painted with automobile paint, so you won't really get any fading or chipping over time.
Okay. And then the lighting, what is the lighting inside of the sign?
All LED. Really, there's really not too many fluorescent signs that are built these days. Only like retrofits or replacement bulbs. Everything's LED.
So compared to the other signage on the site, this would be the only remaining freestanding sign, correct, Mike?
Chair and
Mr.
Commission,
Car
no,
Wash?
there's still additional signage that's further north on White Bear Avenue that would remain, so that's represented by the sign at the very top.
Yep.
The site is allowed 2 freestanding signs, so they would still be meeting that requirement of a max of 2 signs on the site.
Okay. Just looking for branding consistency of the construction of the signs.
No, I think they look close enough, so.
Okay.
All the colors are still the same. It's just the
Yeah.
shape. Unfortunately, you can't make a multi-tenant sign and meet the tenant requirements without being very, very large.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a happy medium and something that was agreed upon with the 2 businesses.
Okay. Tom, anything from you?
Sorry. No, I'm good. I'm set.
Okay. I think it looks pretty straightforward, so
Yeah.
I will make a motion to approve this proposal dated, well, whenever, one for, yeah, for.
8/20. 8/20/25.
8/20, okay, thank you. And that would cover items 1 through 7 with no changes to that.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Bill Kempe says aye.
Jason Lamers, aye.
Osman, aye.
Okay, that is it. Congratulations. You may proceed. Okay, next item on the agenda is design review resolution, Century Ponds proposed development at 601 Century Avenue South. Report, please.
Yeah, thank you, Chair and Board. So you can see on the slide that's on the monitor right now, this project will also be reviewed by the Planning Commission later tonight. And so there's several requests that are being made by the applicants to the city. The focus of the board tonight is design review, and even within that, in the context of the development, that review is focused on the townhome portion. We will still go through a conversation and overview the entire project, so you have the context. I will work to move quickly here so that there's plenty of time for your questions and dialogue with both staff and the applicant tonight. But what is being looked at for the Century Ponds Plan Unit Development is a new residential project with 133 detached single-family homes and 73 townhome units. This would be on the southwest quadrant of Lower Afton Road and Century Avenue. This is the site of the former Ponds at Battle Creek Golf Course. It's currently owned by Ramsey County, and Ramsey County has a purchase agreement with D.R. Horton, who is the applicant tonight. So this is a project area of just over 92 acres. So how did this project get here? It was a fairly methodical and deliberate process to get here tonight that started with Ramsey County closing the golf course in 2019, making that announcement. Again, that was a solely Ramsey County decision as their property and their facility. After that announcement and their budget process that led to the closure, the county and city did work on a joint community engagement to work through and develop different development scenarios for the site. Again, this is not policy of the city. Nothing was adopted by the city council, but it gave an idea of what the site could be with given feedback from the community and the city council. Members of the Planning Commission and the Community Design Review Board were both invited and attended these meetings and participated. So that led to Ramsey County working to issue a request for proposals for the site for development, and ultimately led to a purchase agreement being approved in the fall of '23 with D.R. Horton. And so that led to the developer developing plans for the site, and they held a series of neighborhood meetings all through last year, at 6 neighborhood meetings. They also had a workshop with the city council to walk through development scenario and took that feedback from the city council and refined their concept and ultimately the plans that were submitted for this review. And then looking in 2025, most of the year, the developer has been working on environmental reviews. The city did require an environmental assessment worksheet that took much of the summer and early spring to develop, and that was reviewed by the city council in August, and the council adopted a resolution stating that additional environmental review was not required, and everything that was required by the environmental assessment worksheet had been satisfied. So the development itself, again, the 133 single-family homes focused on the north end of the development. The 73 townhomes, which the board is looking at tonight, is on the southern end. The green shaded area that's throughout the development is 42 and a half acres of green space, whether it's the public park, which is 1.73 acres, and the wetlands, 10 and a half acres, and then other green areas, the wetland buffers and so forth. These will be protected on public conservation easement, and then additional, on top of that, there will be another layer of a storm sewer improvement tax district. This is a tool that the city is able to implement when it's required that these stormwater facilities, whether it's through natural plantings or through physical infrastructure, is meeting the city's storm sewer requirements. that if there's issues with maintenance in the future and the HOA doesn't come through on what they're required to do, the city is able to go in and make those fixes and assess those charges back to the individual properties. So that, again, that the city is not holding the bag on paying those fees for any maintenance issues down the road. The site, overall, the project includes 1.8 miles of public paved trails. So again, the Planning Commission will look at a comprehensive plan amendment because it's been a government-owned property for the golf course. The land use right now is parks. The zoning is farm. The applicant is requesting to have the site re-guided to low-density residential with a net density proposed of 4.15 units per acre. Again, that net density comes from, you see those many green areas throughout the site, which get netted out from a density calculation. The site is being requested to be rezoned to plan unit development. Again, the zoning is farm, so the site would need to be rezoned to meet the lot standards that the developer is proposing. And they're looking to use the R1S small lot single district for the single family homes to the north, and then the R3C for the townhomes to the south. So again, a planned unit development's in place to allow flexibility from zoning standards. There is a give and take where it's somewhat of a negotiation between the city and developer, and that's where largely you've seen some of the requests that the developer is making in terms of lot size, and then the city is then obtaining additional green space and protections throughout the site. So these are the proposed lot standards for the single-family home. This was in your staff report. Again, this isn't something under the purview of the CDRB, so we won't go into depth here. But then for the townhome units, again, using the R3C zoning district as a basis, and largely they are meeting all the setback requirements that would be already required for this project anyway. So looking at the site overall, in terms of access and circulation, the single-family homes will have access via Lower Afton Road and Century Avenue, as you can see by the two red arrows on the northern half. The townhomes will have access via Linwood Avenue, and those streets and the townhomes would also be private streets and maintained by the HOA. I know there was some conversation about the townhomes being accessed from Century Avenue, and the city did have that conversation and work to advocate for that with the Ramsey and Washington counties. Washington County and Ramsey County have the ultimate say. Century Avenue is under the Washington County's jurisdiction, and the counties did not support an access coming off Century Avenue. So the only access point that would work comes off Linwood Avenue to the south. There would be no street connection between the north and south parts of the developments due to the wetland areas and how those lay out. So single-family traffic will now be coming south through the development to Linwood. And then there's trail connections between both sides of the development, north and south, and to the existing area to the west. You can see on the left-hand side the trail connection that connects to the existing neighborhood, and then there's additional park facilities to the west. Parking for the townhomes, what's required is 2 units per two stalls per unit, and that is being met with a 2-car garage. So the townhome parking requirements are met. In addition, there's 28 spaces of townhome guest parking throughout the development, and 6 additional spaces at the public park that's in kind of the central part of the overall development. The developer had a traffic analysis and study conducted, and then the city had an independent one done as well, and both studies found that the roadways, in particular Linwood to the south, have adequate capacity, and the intersections will maintain the same level of service. So again, that does not mean that you wouldn't occur or observe that there are additional cars on Linwood, but even with those additional cars from the townhome development, Linwood still has capacity to serve those additional vehicles, and the service level does not change. It's not just acceptable, it doesn't even change. So it's still the same level of service as you see today. Building height requirements, the townhomes have a height requirement of 35 feet. The proposed structures are under that, and they are also meeting the proposed green space requirement of 35%. Landscaping and screening, the proposed tree preservation plan, again, throughout the entire development, provides for more caliber inches than required for mitigation. There's some recommendations from staff about tree species and then some additional screening that the applicant will have to meet. And then also, as a result of the EAW study, tree removal must occur at with specified guidelines from the Minnesota DNR and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. For exterior approval, so again, I've referenced this a few times, single-family homes are not under the purview of the CDRB. They have not at any point of time in Maplewood, and nor are they typically in any other city. When you have a single-family plat, the single-family homes are not under additional design guidance. Now, with that said, there had been at the workshop last year with the council and the developer on expectations on what was being proposed for the single-family homes. You can see some images to the right of what the developer has proposed and the council has reviewed in terms of that workshop, not approved, but reviewed and gave feedback on. And those ultimate final renderings will be a part of a developer's agreement that the developer will then have to adhere to make sure that the style of homes stay maintained and that there's not a reduction of quality moving forward. The bottom image is of the townhome project, and there's a couple more slides on the design of those coming up. That is under the purview tonight. The applicant is also looking for a wetland buffer variance. You can see in the teal areas throughout the site where some grading will occur, also removal of existing trail and construction of a new trail, stormwater system enhancements, retaining walls, and then some areas in the townhome portion of patios and turf grass being within that buffer area. But again, anywhere that's graded or there's other work going on, that will be restored to a wetland buffer, and those conditions will be under a management plan to create and enhance that buffer. And at the after conditions, everywhere in the site would be meeting at a minimum or exceeding the wetland buffer requirements of either 50 or 75 feet, depending on the quality of the wetland throughout the site. And again, the proposed variance, all those teal areas total up to approximately 77,000 square feet, and the overall wetland buffer area of the development is just over 714,000 square feet. So the townhomes themselves, proposed buildings are 2 stories, approximately 30 feet in height. Buildings will range from either 3 to 6 units in size. Generally, the front elevations, staff did not have any concerns with how they were designed. We are looking for additional elements on the side and rear elevations. You can see, adding windows on the second floor of the side, wrapping wainscoting around, ensuring 4-sided architecture of these buildings will be visible from all sides. Really looking for the design board to hone in on that and provide recommendations on what you would find acceptable. I know the developer wants to have more conversation on that aspect as well. The floor area and indoor storage requirements are all being met, no flexibility being requested there. Department internal review, all departments have had a chance to review this project several times, really, over the last year. But on this current proposal, engineering, environmental, and public safety areas have provided comments that were included in your staff report today. Notifications were sent to the 220 surrounding properties, both in Maplewood and Woodbury, invited to the public hearing later tonight with the Planning Commission. That's where we're at tonight with both this group and the Planning Commission conducting the review. Early next month, the Environmental and Natural Resource Commission will conduct their review, and everyone's recommendations will filter to the council. We'll have final decision-making on all these requests. So with that, staff is recommending approval of the design review resolution that's found in the staff report with the conditions as outlined. I can stand for questions at this time. We also have representatives from the engineering staff, and then the applicant is also here.
Yeah, on the townhouses, how deep are the driveways? It looks like they're not very deep.
Chair and commission, or just to be expedient, I would ask if you would invite the
Okay.
applicant
Yeah.
up to
Let's
speak
do
to
it.
that.
Let's do it.
Come on forward.
Good evening,
Yeah.
my name is Deborah Ridgway, I'm with D.R. Horton. With me tonight my colleagues, or my colleagues, Mike Sewell and Frank Hagan, and we should be able to answer your questions between the three of us.
Okay.
As far as the driveway lengths, they're 30 feet long, so the setback from the back of the curb to the front of the garage is 30 feet.
On the townhouses?
Yes.
Okay. It was looking kind of like it was shorter than that from the picture, but that's just probably a fault of the picture.
Yeah, and I don't know, I guess, I have to look at the plan here, because it might just be the box of the lot that's set that you're looking at, so the building sets.
I was looking at the elevation.
I'm sorry.
So, yeah, I was just looking at the detailed elevation, just a few slides back, and that one looked like it was only like 3 feet or something. And we've dealt with that kind of problem before, but you think, but it is 30 feet.
They're 30 feet.
So
Yep.
there is room to park two cars
Two
on the driveway.
cars, yep, plus the 2 in the garage, and then the additional
And then
off-street.
28
Yep,
elsewhere. So,
yes,
so for like holidays, it seems like there's
Yep.
going to be adequate parking.
Yep.
Okay. I'm done with that question. Jason,
Yeah.
anything from you?
Yeah, no, mine really is jump into those side and rear elevations of these buildings. Directly across the Century from these, there's some 3-story apartment buildings, so 1 story taller than what these are. And they have 4-sided architectural appeal. They have masonry, roughly 30% of the facade. So wainscot, but then they also take masonry vertical up multiple sections to break up that mass expanse of siding.
sure.
I guess what other proposals are you gonna look at for varying these? Because these are visible from all 4 sides. It's not just the street they're on. It's a highly visible off of Century for all of these.
Right, here. So the price points that we're trying to achieve with these townhomes is right around 400,000, which is kind of high for a townhome if you think about it, plus your association dues. Obviously, we're trying to keep it attainably priced as possible. We definitely have looked at some options to do multiple materials on the sides, and I actually have a sample if you wanted to look at that.
Yes, we,
As far as stone, we typically don't wrap stone around the building. In the rears, we have those little fences that, kind of the privacy fences that divide the units for that. But we typically don't put them in the back.
I assume that there's a patio back there?
There is a patio
You
back,
are
yep.
installing patios on each one of these, right?
Yes, there is a patio.
How
on
wide
each
is the
one.
patio compared to the
The
width of the home?
patios are, I believe they're 8 by 12.
Okay,
They are.
just poured concrete.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
which, I'm fine with that, because people are gonna have, furniture on there, and hopefully they'll have some plantings next to it, just to kind of pretty it up. Personally, I'd like to see some kind of detail added to the sides of the building. I'm not too concerned about the rear myself, but I think the sides would,
If we could have the overhead camera, the applicant has a plan they would like to show.
Oh, the other way. So what we would propose to do, and this is similar, we're building actually this building in Lakeville. So what we would do, we have 3 different siding types on the ends and then 2 on the back. And then the additional window, this is a little bit different plan than what we're proposing here. So there'd probably be 1 window on the lower level and then 2 on the upper level, which I know
Okay.
staff has asked to have an additional.
yeah, I wasn't aware
window.
that you had several different sidings on the sides, so.
And I actually
That
we
would
have a
help.
colored kind of picture of what that looks like.
Mhm.
So it's similar.
Okay,
And we offer like 4 or 5 different color packages, so we won't have the same color buildings.
And there will be plantings along the side.
Yep, there'll be
just like-
plantings
just like it
along the
shows on
side.
picture.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Any questions from you?
I know that your desire is to try to hit a specific price point, and so, using budget materials. I'm not sold on those elevations. I think using three different, so vinyl shakes, vinyl vertical siding, vinyl horizontal siding, I don't think it's a great look for the community. I don't think it's in common with other architecture that exists, either multifamily or single family in this area. And particularly when you wrap around to the front, there's like next to no masonry compared to what we see on a lot of the other architecture in these neighborhoods. And I guess it's, as we look at studies that show property values of neighboring properties are either positively or negatively impacted by the material use on adjacent neighborhoods and properties. I think this is bringing the overall neighborhood down a notch. And I guess I was hoping for more than what you're showing here. I'd like to see, a common number that's, you can go to multiple building studies as 30% masonry, especially on that front facade. I think right now you're, well below that. You're maybe at 7 or 8% masonry use.
I don't have that, yeah.
And I'm just, I'm looking at the use of three different siding orientations, and it's, I don't know, I don't think it's consistent with the neighborhood.
So the homes, the single-family homes will have vinyl siding as well, which, is not much different than with the townhomes to the west of this site. They have vinyl siding as well on their homes.
Yeah,
But-
personally, I have no problem with the homes, because, well, we don't even, we don't even get involved with that, and the houses look.
This is just directly across the
Right,
street.
yep,
Okay, and that wraps all the way around the back, and then there you have full masonry all the way around.
yep,
So we're gonna go just across Century, 'cause this
Yep.
is that property right there.
okay.
And it is a big step down.
Yeah, no, I can see that. I was just saying that the single-family homes, I think are fine the way they are.
If I could just add, Mike Sewell with D.R. Horton. Yeah, you're talking about the apartments across Century Avenue, I believe.
Yeah, this is a community.
Yep, and it's a different type of community than the townhome neighborhood we're trying to make. That's more of a rental, 4-story, 300 units apartment, and it's more of a commercial standard, where we're trying to still keep this more like a residential neighborhood with just attached homes. So in our mind, we don't see the masonry doing anything on the backside for keeping our residential feel that we're trying to accomplish. I guess we just differ on that, and you sit on the design review board, so we'll have to follow your lead, but we believe that we're building a residential neighborhood, not a commercial rental neighborhood, so that's probably our difference in why we come up with what we come up with versus.
But if I'm in the neighborhood and I'm just driving down Century Avenue, there's 4, 8, 12, 15 directly
Understand.
on. And it's not gonna look great.
And-
I get if you're just driving in the street inside of the neighborhood, you're dressing the fronts up, but we're not addressing, this board, our job is to look at the
Understand.
totality of the property development.
And I think you're also not taking into effect that there will be wetlands and ponds and landscaping between Century Avenue and these building sites to help break up the views from Century Avenue. So we will follow the city's direction on this, but I'm just trying to help you understand what our thoughts were when we came into the meeting.
Tom, do you have any feedback?
I actually see. Jason, I actually see what you're saying. I do. My question is, at what scope do we, for this development, do we approve or not? I mean, I do understand what you're saying. It's it does to me look discount compared to other homes in the neighborhood. But as far as this board, I'm not sure what level of impact that opinion means.
Chair and board, just to help on that question, the design elevations, the building elevations of the townhomes are completely within your purview, and to discuss building material percentages, what's being proposed, what would be added. This is all fair discussion.
Knowing the limited space that the backs of these are going to have for the ability to add landscaping, you're really going to see that siding. The shakes in the gable, perfectly fine with that. Just visually, it is a nice architectural appeal. Switching between horizontal and vertical siding, as a board member, I'm not sold on that. I would prefer to have the masonry wrap around, so we have that consistency, knowing that because there's very little space to work with on these, that's going to give us a permanent anchor to the base of the building, and move the vertical siding back to horizontal.
Can you put that picture back up? They're referring to.
If we could go to the overhead camera. Tom, is this the image you want to see, or the one behind it?
I can't see anything on the screen.
Oh, it's probably not on the Teams or the Zoom.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know how to get the picture to him. Can you see the
That would show it right there.
screen that's sharing now, Tom?
Yes.
Okay.
So, Jason, your perspective is it should be masonry all the way around.
Well, I feel like that, particularly the ends, you're going three different, you're going shakes and then vertical siding with a horizontal transition beam and then horizontal siding. It's just unlike anything in the neighboring community area. And so knowing they're going to have, especially in the backs of those, very limited space to add shrubs and anything that's going to give you ground level change to that elevation, I'd prefer to have masonry incorporated in the back, particularly because it's going to be visible not only when you're driving on the road, but there's a trail system throughout this whole thing for people to walk around and be able to, have access to see all sides of these buildings. So I'd like to have a iteration of this brought back in front of the board that shows, 30% masonry incorporated into, the front and that rear elevation. Maybe it's just a wainscot along the side. But right now it I don't know. These back right up against the Century, and they're inconsistent with what's, neighboring properties are.
Yeah, I would agree with the masonry thing. I don't have any problem with the lap siding and then the board and batten just above it. I think that's a good mix.
I think I'm inclined to go with Bill. Jason, I'm with you on the masonry part. My opinion on the direction of the siding is not as strong.
Okay.
Chair and board, just as you're considering potential motions, and I know Mike would like to address something further, I would just like to throw out the idea too, as you throw out that motion, if there's something that you're expecting to see back in front of the CRB, that it potentially could take place in the concept of this process moves forward, and then if they receive approval, then the townhomes must come back before they can pull permits.
Yeah.
As
The
opposed
elevations.
to needing the townhomes to be approved before the whole process could continue to move forward. So just think about how that could be worded into a motion.
Okay. And there's some other things you're gonna speak of, or?
I was just going to ask for some clarification. So where I get concerned, board members, is when you say 30%, it's an arbitrary line that just say we go up 6 feet on the back of a townhome unit, because that hits 30%. It doesn't add any
Well, I mean,
architectural.
you guys are America's builder. You can come up with more creative plans
Right,
than
no,
just
I-
going 6 feet, right?
Correct, but I'm just throwing out, if you say 30%, we hear that you want stone or brick on the back. And you want it more than a wainscoting, I'm taken by, you're picking,
It could go around that door, you know, so that you're almost framing that door, you know, with, you know, up to the window or something like that. I mean, there's
Yeah,
some creative
Right, I just-
ways you can incorporate it. I mean, the front right now, we've got like 16
Nope,
inches
nope.
on each side of the garage doors.
correct. And we have some other thoughts on how we can do the fronts. I'd like to have some flexibility that, yes, we need stone on the back. It needs to be a minimum of 4 feet off the ground. I don't know, because I don't know how the designer's gonna come in and say, well, let's just not do 4 feet, because that looks like 1970 all over again, when that was the way everybody just put wainscoting on the front. So that's why I would just ask that we keep some flexibility, that we can come back with the elevation before final plat or before building permit.
Yeah.
Something that has, it may be at 27%, because that's where the designer said this makes the most sense, or maybe at 33%. I don't know. I just get concerned when we pick a hard number. But we are listening, and we are hearing the board's desire for a different rear elevation with some stone or brick on the back. And I'm more with Bill that if it's vertical or shiplap, or not, board and batten, that's above my design
Yeah,
grade, so that's someone
and
else's.
I think probably the other thing that's just kind of getting me is that it's just like these are 4 units and it's like pew, 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 pew. They're just exact.
Well, remember, there's 4, 5, and 6 units.
Yes, you're correct. There's some of them have 6 in a row, but even the ones that are 6 in a row, it's like the same things, just side by
And-
side by side. So you get the massive expanse of it being
And-
one. Even with those little walls, you get the
And keep in mind, that
massing.
one of the things that we probably are getting wrong, because it was in the study, was trying to find some affordability options in Maplewood for new construction. So every time we add stuff, it keeps pushing us farther and further away from affordability. And we may be getting that part wrong from reading all the reports from the county and cities joint study, so that may be a mistake on our part. But the other thing is, we also are trying to figure out how homeowners and association are gonna be able to maintain and afford to maintain it. So that's why there are some uniformities, just to help control the cost, because insurance costs on townhomes are just running rampant right now. So we're trying to have some thought about the future homeowners. But we are listening, and we certainly will come back with a different elevation
Yeah.
before.
I'm not convinced that adding a masonry detail to the back is going to have any impact on maintenance,
agreed.
so.
Yeah. And when you propose some of these elevations to bring back to the board, overall, the whole townhome development, I don't have an issue with the layout of it, the structure, the number of units that are connected and stuff. That I'm going to move this process forward with the request that additional elevations get submitted. But think about varying the materials so that these units have a little bit of, that will help break up these big, massive facades so that they're more just, they have a little bit more architectural appeal.
Yep.
We're building communities here that are going to be here for the next 30, 40, 50 years. We're going to get one chance to do this because especially in a townhome community, homeowners aren't going to be able to make their own decisions to change out what they want on their house. So they're going to get this one time. All those single-family homes are, you know, if 5 years from now they want to add more masonry, they can add more masonry. That won't happen with this. So we get one chance to get this right.
Understand.
Okay.
So Chair and Board, just for, again, guidance, the
Yep,
motion
yep.
is yours, but
Is it
if
page 42, Mike? Or
it is page, well, the conditions start on page 43, the resolution's 42.
Yep.
42 and then 43, okay.
Yep, and then it's under item 10A. Item 10 is prior to issuance of building permit, the applicant shall submit, it says for staff approval, but we can revise that to say for CDRB approval, if that's a desire of the board, and then you would
Yeah. So
list what it is that you're looking for.
So this would be CD. All right, so we go all the way to item 13. Tom, did you have any other items that you wanted to?
No, my feedback covers between you and Bill. And again, I think that the variety of material and the mason on the back elevation.
Okay, I'm gonna take a shot at a motion. So this would be the plans for the Century Ponds development at 601 Century Avenue South. This is the approval 3.01, items 1 through 13, amending item 10, that prior to the issuance of the building permit, the applicant shall submit to the CDRB revised building elevations. And for guidance for the applicant, it's going to be varying the elevations so that the materials aren't just continuous across 4, 5, 6 units. So that might be selection of different masonry for every other unit or some combination of that. And then I'm just gonna put a range, 25 to 35% target masonry. And as the applicant stated, it doesn't have to be in a wainscot application. It could be creatively incorporated into the elevations. With the desire to look at all 4 elevations due to the visibility of the rear of these to Century Avenue and walking paths throughout the common areas.
What was the range, 25 to 35%?
Yeah.
I would,
Or if you want to go bigger, 20 to,
I'd actually go smaller,
okay, 20 to 30?
15, because it's a 2-story facade. And so I think that 15 would look in balance. What do you think?
Architectural rules are third,
Okay.
you know.
Okay.
I'm gonna,
I'll go along with that.
let's say 20% up to 30%. We'll bring that down a little bit
Okay,
per the
I'm fine.
recommendation.
Okay, so that, you've made your motion. Tom, any comments from you?
Nothing further that I've already said.
Okay, so I will second the amended motion. And if there's no other discussion, we will take that to a vote. Bill Kempe says aye.
Jason Lamers, aye.
Tom Osman, aye.
Okay, well, that's one step. Good luck on the rest of it.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that's all we do on that one. Next item of business is unfinished business. Is there anything?
Chair and Board, staff has nothing further for you tonight.
Anything from the board,
No board presentations.
from the staff? You know what? I have a proposal or a motion. The unfinished business, letter F, and letter H, in the future, just combine them. Because it seemed to be asking the same question twice.
Sure. Chair and Commission, feedback taken, there is standardization of all the agendas amongst all the groups.
Okay,
So
you know
one
what?
change fix
We'll-
another.
we'll
but
live
it's
with it.
Good to have it, yes.
We'll live with it, so it's fine. Okay, visitor presentations from anybody. Anyone have anything to say? All right, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll motion to adjourn.
I will second that. No discussion. We will take that to a roll call vote. Bill Kempy says yes, let's adjourn.
Jason Lamers, adjourn.
Tom Osmond, okaying adjourning.
Okay, we are done. Thank you.
Recording stopped.